Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or yes there. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to trading with you guys today. I'm hoping for a fantastic week, both COT report and price action trades. So I'm super excited to dive into this. I've already seen a couple of setups that I like for today, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I just also want to welcome anybody new with us. We had a few people sign up over the weekend. So if you are here live or watching this in the recording, just want to say hello to you guys and welcome you here, and excited to have you guys participate in any way that you can. If you're on YouTube as well, want to say hello to you guys and welcome you to participate by commenting in the comment section down below. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and jump into this. Before we get into our live trading and instruction today, I need to go over our disclaimer. As always, I need to remind you about the risks involved in this market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. All right, guys, so let's update our COT report trades from last night. So these are the top 6 trades we have for the week. We have a Kiwi yen long, an NZD franc long, everything's long. So pound yen, pound franc, USD yen, and USD franc. So those are the top 6. The only real change on the COT report from the previous week is we have, let's see, we dropped the euro. It slightly weakened last week. Let's see, the Kiwi was a real big front runner. In fact, that's the #1 slot right now as far as strong currencies go. Yeah, the Kiwi made it to #1 at 67.2% long. And then you've got the pound dollar at 66% long. He's been, that's been pretty strong for the last couple of weeks. That wasn't a huge change, but yes, it was a change slightly to the upside. You have the dollar, which actually decreased a little, but it still remains in the one of the top 3 spots, just because of how much it's pushing that. It's extremely long bias, right? As far as current holdings go. And then on the short side, you've got the franc and the yen, and that has not changed from the previous week. In fact, the yen has actually become increasingly short from where it already was short. And the franc has slightly strengthened, which is not the best, but it's not terrible either. So otherwise, there's still pretty weak currencies. So based off of that, that's how you're able to get these top 6 for the week. It's kind of interesting. The dollar yen was the top slot for a long time. Now it's the Kiwi yen. Kiwi just kind of swooped in there out of nowhere and just said, nope, we're the top spot now. So I'm hoping for a strong Kiwi week. And so far that's been the case. So let's actually update the trades. So everything's kind of in a little bit of a rally right now, which is awesome. So this is subject to change. Right now, the Kiwi is up 26 pips at the moment. The NZD franc, this one is down 10 pips. And then you've got pound yen, which is up. This is our best trade. It's up 109 pips at the moment. Then you've got the pound franc, which is up 13. You've got the dollar yen, which is up 57. And the USD franc, which is down 6 pips. Okay, so that gives us a sum of, it's a stout morning. That's a good way to start. We'll take it. Yeah, 189 pips so far in the week. So, I mean, obviously it's Monday, but we'll take some positivity anytime we can take it. And as a reminder, guys, when you are trading the COT report, these are week-long trades. So as long as they don't hit their stop losses, please hold them until the end of the week. Even if it's tempting to take for example, the pound yen's up 109 pips. I know the feeling, and it's very tempting to want to take that profit even now. Don't do it, because you're going to need those big profits coming in to cover losses, right? We've had some losing weeks and we need to cover those. And the way you cover losses is by subsequently having really big wins. And so we have to leave these trades out to get those really big wins. So, it's very possible. I mean, if the pound yen's already up 109 pips just from last night, then who's to say it can't go 2, 3, 4, 500 pips by Friday? it can. So we need to let that sit around and do its thing. Yes, good morning, everybody. It's great to see everybody. Like I said, I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Brooks says, to be honest, on demo, kept a lot of my losing trades open from last week just to see what happens. Some of them are my favor also. Yeah, sometimes that happens, and that's awesome. Yeah, sometimes you'll see COT report trades recover from the previous week. It's just kind of funny. The banks like to stop us out sometimes and then, get us, they recover those bad trades that we wanted and that they wanted to go good in the following weeks. And that's why you often see very similar trades. It's a very similar flavor from last week. In fact, the only differences from last week is now you have a Kiwi franc instead of a Euro franc, and now you have an NZD yen instead of a Euro yen, right? So very similar flavor from the previous week. And so we're just, a lot of the times we're taking the same trades from the previous week, and that's okay. All right, guys. So we'll leave the COT report alone now that we've got kind of a good start, 189 pips to start the week and climbing, which is awesome. So now let's kind of turn our heads over to price action. I do want to spend quite a bit of time on price action just because I'd like to have a really good price action week. Okay. So last week was kind of hit and miss. We had a few winners and a few losers, but nothing really big. The week before, we had some really big price action trades, and I'm hoping we can do that this week. So it's just going to take more focus and more energy on the price action trades. But I want to talk about this trade. This is one we took. I think this was Friday. Let me pull up our Telegram channel. Yeah. So let's talk about this one. I did not get this trade. I did not get into this trade. Even though we wanted to. We got really razor close, as you can see right there. Look how close that was to triggering. So basically with the pound CAD, let's talk about the reasons for this trade, just in recap. So we took this trade on Friday because we saw a nice trending down market. You have 3 points of engagement. You have 1, 2, and 3 right here. Then you had a breakage structure, a BOS right here. And then you had another break-in structure, but this is more of a, a resistance that broke, and that's considered a breakage structure as well. So you have the break-in structure as far as the trend goes and this resistance, and it happened all in the same move, right? So what should you be thinking if the market does that? If it has the ability to break through 2 major structure points in the same move, well, it means it's extremely powerful. That's really it in a nutshell. It's a very powerful move. It's very robust. And because of it, any little pullback is usually a good buying entry. If you're only breaking like one structure, you might want to be a little bit more, articulate with your entry and maybe not be as aggressive. But in this case, you want to be more aggressive because you have such significant breaks of structure here. And that's exactly what happened. And I thought we had a good place. To be honest, I was being a little more aggressive here, which is what you want to do when you have this much confirmation. Unfortunately, I was just off by a few pips, and that happens, so you can measure this. How far was this? This was, you can barely, oh my gosh, it was so close. It kind of stinks we didn't get triggered into this. So, we're off by like 5 pips on that. Yeah, within 10 pips. Yeah, it really stinks. So, so what do we do next time when you see this much confirmation? Maybe we need to be even more aggressive at getting into our entry. Okay. But yeah, you had everything you wanted to see, right? Like you had break in the trend line, a break in resistance, all in the same move. When that happens, you want to be a little bit more antsy about getting in. You don't want to wait too long because of what just happened. You risk the chance of not being in a trade, even though you know where the market's going to go. You risk the chance of not even being in the trade if you're waiting too long, right? So at this point, I don't think it's worth keeping this trade open. I just want to look to the next opportunity. To be honest. So I'm going to just go ahead and cancel this one. Let me go ahead and make a reply in the chat here. Okay, that this trade just never triggered. 1 second, good. Just give me a second here to type this out. Thank you. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll update that. Okay, the other trade we have open is this Aussie Kiwi trade. Let's go ahead and talk about that one real quick. So with this guy, so this just barely triggered recently. It hasn't really done anything yet. I'm not a big fan of the way this is lined up, because, well, technically it tripped in earlier right here. Remember, it didn't trip in there because of rollover, tripped in right here, and it actually went in our favor for a little bit, but now it's kind of meandered back. That's usually not a good sign. Okay, so we do have to be a little bit more objective, and we have to recognize these things as they're happening. I'm not saying it can't work out. It could certainly break to the upside. However, based off of what I'm seeing, it's probably more likely to continue lower. And so because of that, at this point, I'm not impressed with this liquidity zone. So it'd probably be best to get out of this trade. Yeah, it'd be good to just cancel this order, and we'll just take some more. I'm just cleaning house right now, and then we can go ahead and take some more setups as we find them. But yeah, what you want, just so everybody knows, when we trade and we take these types of setups, what you want to see is a market break structure like it did, and then you want it to dip into liquidity, and then you want it to quickly V-shape recovery out of that. If it doesn't do that, then it doesn't mean it can't work. Just the chance of it working out goes, the probabilities definitely get worse, right? So at this point, I think we're just down, let's see, how many pips are we down on this trade? We're down a single pip. So I'm going to go ahead and close that one and just cancel. Okay. Okay, cool. And then, yeah, so I think that covers everything that we had open. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I think that covers everything. Okay, so now what I want to do is just look for trade setups. So we got a lot of time now, which is good, and we need it. So let's go ahead and look at price action. David says, how gold looking? Let's go take a look at gold first, and then we can, from here, we can kind of go up the list and take a look at the different setups. So I typically start on an hourly chart for those that are new when I'm looking for price action trades. However, recently I've been doing more 15-minute setups because the 15-minute setups typically give you something that'll trigger a little bit faster. And I do want to make this kind of a heavy price action week. So, I think I might do more 15-minute setups just because you'll get more frequent setups though. Takes a little bit longer for the hourly chart to line up, although it can line up. It just depends on how you're looking at it. Sometimes the 15-minute or hourly can do just fine. But let's take a look at this. So here's gold. So my immediate reactions are a couple of things. So when I'm looking at the charts, I still look at the left side of the chart over here. But I do spend a lot more time on the right side just because this is the most recent thing that we have right now. Often the left side of the chart becomes more tangible when you're looking for targets and stop losses and things like that. But when you're looking for an entry and an actual setup, that's often going to be found over here on the right side. So that's why my eyes usually direct to the right side first, and then we go from there. So the first thing I see on the right side is, oh, hey, we've got a low. This is an apex low. Currently, this is a higher low, right? The other thing that I notice right away with gold when I look at this is I see that this general high right here breached whatever resistance was built up right in this area. So to me, I'm starting to see the beginnings of what could be an uptrending market soon. Does that mean it's going to happen right away? I can't say for sure, but let's just continue our analysis. Now that I've kind of done that high-low, higher high and higher low analysis, and then I can see if they've got a trend. Not really right here, unless I've got another. I know I don't have anything on the left side, so I can't really draw that trend line because I need 3 points of engagement for it to be a trend. Can I draw a trend here? Yeah, it looks like there's a trend line right through here. So we can draw this one out. Why is that a trend? Because you've got 3 points of engagement at least. So you got 1, 2, and then your third one is right here. And the market broke structure both right in here, and it broke structure right here, all in the same move. So that's actually a good sign. Like if for the narrative of looking for a buy opportunity potentially. The thing I'm not impressed with that I just noticed just barely, there's a candle I don't like for my narrative that I'm putting up. It's that red candle. Notice how it's pretty robust. It engulfed the previous 3 green candles, and it's got this wick at the top here, which usually indicates that the market really struggled to maintain that price action. Like at one point it did go higher, but then it pulled right back. So that's not the greatest sign you want to see for that. So that would have me a little bit hesitant. I'm still down with the idea of going long, but I need to have a solid level to do that. And I don't think right now is the best price, just because that's very recent. That was just 2 candles ago. So that whole candle could negate everything I just drew out here, the narrative I just put together. So so now if I come out more to the left, you can see there's other liquidity. So I want to see if maybe there's demand at some of these other levels, because for now, it looks like this could almost go either way. So I want to get some more clarity. So let's go ahead and grab some of these order blocks. Let's try the smart money first, or this one. Here's the order block detector. And yeah, the next demand block is all the way down here. It's kind of far. Sonar Lab has demand blocks right there as well. It has one right through here, and that's kind of far. But then you've got a few right in here. Maybe that's potential, right? And then you've got this order block right here, but I'm not superly impressed with it. So for me, honestly, this is more of something. So how would I be more impressed with gold? Let's do that, and then I'll finish my other thought. So if I were to trade gold right now, I would be much more impressed to trade gold if that red candle didn't exist. That's pretty big. You have to respect that, right? Like we have to look for these clues. That's a big fat red candle that engulfed the previous 3 candles. So that's a 4-bar reversal, right? And then you've got a huge wick on the top of that. That's not a good look. It's not a good look for the bulls. It really isn't. It's a better look for the bears. And so I'm getting kind of, how do I say this, David? I'm got mixed signals. I have a narrative for buys and I have a narrative for sells. If it's pretty clear I have both narratives, I usually back out and I go look for something else. Okay. If that bear candle did not exist and it started going up instead, honestly, I'd say, yeah, this thing's probably going to keep going up. But we just don't have that. So it looks almost more like the bears are just taking any opportunity they have to sell and they're going for it. So that's my thought. In fact, kind of thinking maybe a little bit more bearish for now because the last demand zone as we established was kind of down here. So this honestly could probably find its way down to that demand zone and then maybe you'll get your pop. But yeah, it kind of looks more bearish than anything. Yeah. Banks are taking profits on there. Yeah, I heard what's his name? The guy from Canada that also trades the COT Report. He's doing the same. Yeah, he's saying that banks are taking profits on gold. So it makes sense why that's been going down. And Lee, you've been selling it. That's awesome. Let's see. Darwin says, is break a structure when the body or wick breaks the previous high or low? That's a good question. That's a really good question. So I typically would prefer a body to break it, right? So we do have a body break right here, like we established earlier. And honestly, I don't think I would call the wick a break a structure because obviously it wasn't able to follow through. So I would say the whole candle's got to break through it. But yeah, that's a great question. Let's go take a look. Aussie CAD short on a 15-minute. Let's go take a look at that. Oh, I think you're talking the guy from Canada, Kevin Arujo. Is that the guy you're talking about, Roger? Yeah, I think I saw in his report this morning that the banks, yeah, they're taking profits on gold right now. Let's see this trade. Oh yeah, this trade. Let's see, did we post this? I believe let's check. Let's double check. I can't remember. I know we talked about this trade. Did we post this opportunity? Or was it at your leisure trade? I can't remember. You guys tell me. I don't see it in the signals that I posted last week. So yeah, it must have been just like if you want to take it, you can take it. Yeah, I don't see it in there. Yeah, I didn't post it. I just checked. Yeah, I didn't post it. Yeah, Kevin, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this one we looked at the other day, had a break of structure, and then it dipped a little bit, and then it's off to the races. And that's still in the money right now. But now, Brooks, you're saying looking for a short now. Let's take a look. So let's go down to a 15-minute chart, and let's see if there's an opportunity for a good little short on this. So let's expand out and do a little analysis. Okay, so on the 15-minute Aussie CAD, I see what you're saying. Okay, this is what you're talking about, right? So you've got your trend line. You have at least 3 points of engagement. Again, that's required, right? And then you've got a break in structure right there. Little sneaky break in structure. Also, before that even happened, just so everyone can see, there's your apex high. Here's your lower high, right? So that's the initial like trouble for the market. And then this is the real trouble where you break the structure. My only downside, and I guess this is kind of sad, we're about an hour and a half late to that move right here because it basically just came up and tagged this little liquidity right here. It just tagged that and then it's coming down. So could you still trade this? Potentially, yeah. Yeah, you could look for a short, like you could sell now at market and then stop there and then look for a target down here. Your risk to reward ratio is not going to be as good, but yeah, you certainly could do something like that. I'm going to consider it. I have my pen here and my notebook, so let's go ahead and write this down as an option. I'm not sold yet, Brooks, and the only reason why is because I haven't seen a lot of the market yet. We have a lot of time this morning to look at price action trades. Otherwise, I think I would go for this. If you're already in it, fantastic, but I'm gonna look at other trades before I just jump into this guy. But yeah, nice setup. That's a good one. Very qualified. Nice job. Let's continue our search here. Okay, and again, I'm going to go down to I'm going to spend more time on a 15-minute just because there's going to be more opportunities on the 15-minute. I'm not a big fan of this one. Let me explain why, even though it's similar to the Aussie CAD that we just looked at. The reason why I'm not a big fan of this one is because technically your break in structure is your third point of engagement, right? Like this is all 1 point. Technically, that's the second point. Yeah, you could say that's a third point, but I'll come back to it. So if we could take a sniper trade on this, I took a trade just like this on the CAD Frank last week that I didn't take with you guys. And if you're down, we could take another setup. Basically, it would look like this. You short that right there. So we wait for it to come up to there. And we do that like that. And then you write that down. That could be a good trade if that works. So I'm going to write it down. Definitely, it's worth writing down. We'll come back to it. Again, I want to see the rest of the market first. But it's a good little setup. That's good. Yeah, generally it's good. All right, Aussie yen. Let's delete all this stuff. No, I'm gonna skip that one. Skip that one. Okay, let's see. Here's the Aussie dollar. Yeah, there you go. That's what you want. So this, man, I'm always an hour late to these. Maybe we should move up the class an hour so we can find some of these faster. So here's this trend line. I'm actually down to do that. If you guys tell me. I mean, I'm gonna keep it. I mean, I've always had the class at this hour for like a year. I haven't changed it in over a year. So, if it's a great time, it's a great time. If there's a better time that works for other people, let me know. But I don't want to mess up everything. If this is good setup, that's good. For me, it's at 9 a.m. That's not bad. Like 9 a.m. It's a good time for me. I'm already up and done a little stretching this morning, had a good breakfast, not too bad. But I realize if you're on the East Coast, that's like almost lunchtime by the time this class starts. So, but yeah, and who knows, there might be better setups earlier. It seems like we're often missing some good setups just because of the timing. But okay. So yeah, so basically you have a break of structure, then your job is just to find liquidity, which would have been either this area right here. That's a potential liquidity zone, and then you got this one right here. Looks like it tagged into both, and then it's off to the races. So this one is a little bit late. We're late to the party on this Aussie dollar, but it doesn't mean you can't trade it, right? It'd be 4 a.m. in Hawaii, yeah. So, Matt Darwin, you're getting up early then. This is like the first thing you're doing in the morning. Wow, thanks for coming. You could be on the beach right now doing this, right? Okay, so that Aussie dollar there's a lot of Aussies setting up right now, guys. We have setups. We do have setups today, which is good. Okay, here's the CAD Frank. That's a little bit of a trend right there. We'll see if that breaks. Here's the CAD yen. 4 a.m. That would be super early. What do we have here? Okay, actually kind of cool. So here's the, here, let's actually go to an hourly for this one. So here's the franc yen. This is something we drew out the other day. In fact, let's bring this in just a little bit like that. This could be lining up right now, even. Let's make this bigger. Here's the franc yen. So this is an hourly chart on the franc yen. You've got 0.1. You could call this 0.2. And then you've got 0.3, 0.4, which is not necessary, but nice. And you even have a 0.5, which is cool. And then you have a subsequent break and structure. And this is very clear break, which is good because that means it just broke without any, I mean, that means there's good liquidity up here. If it breaks like that, that means there's really good liquidity. So we could be sitting at a really strong liquidity zone right through here. Let's see the indicators. Let's see if they're saying the same thing. So they're saying more is up there on Sonar Lab. There is something right there on the order block detector, which is to be expected. And then this whole thing, wow, that's crazy. That's all liquidity, sell liquidity as far as Lux Algo's order block detector goes. No, the smart money. Smart money's saying the whole thing is sell liquidity. Yeah, that this could be a good setup. So this trade would look like, so it's pretty much at its setup point right now. Like you would want to sell now, and then you would want to stop out something like this, and then ride this down as far as we could take it. I don't know how far this will go. We could try to go just a minimum of right there. But we could also try to ride this, you know, really far. I mean, I don't know if you'll go all the way down to here, but in theory, it's possible. We could try one like that. If you could get a 1 to 8, that's huge. I mean, that a 1 to 8 can pass a prop firm challenge. If it works again. I mean, that's a little bit, you're pushing it a little bit. The only thing I don't like about this trade, and there is something I don't like, which is that's a pretty strong bull candle. Not the one that we're on right now, but the one that's prior to this, that's pretty strong. Okay. Makes you wonder if there's more to this than what I'm seeing. And it makes me also wonder is this the best liquidity zone, or would this be a better one right around here? You know, and I'd hate to get stopped out on something like that, especially if it's going to be pretty good. So you could widen your stop and just not ask the market for as much. You could do something like that. You know, this one's, I think this one's worth taking, guys. Again, the only thing I'm not impressed with is that big green candle there, but you are coming up into some massive sell side liquidity. So it should be a pretty good, I mean, in theory, it'd be a pretty good move. And you are, yeah, and like I said, you're coming right up into the very thing. This is the very area. This is the very thing that caused this thing to break out like it did. Right? So maybe we go with it, maybe we don't. I mean, I'm thinking more too. I mean, we do have several setups. We have this one, which is this is a CAD, this is a Swiss franc. Yeah, it's a bigger stop loss. And so that's the thing. There's a couple of things, right? You have that big candle and you have a bigger stop loss, right? So franc yen, here's the thing, if this is saying short and we have the Aussie franc saying short, wouldn't that negatively correlate? Yeah. So I was like, if we have yeah, you know, I don't know about that other one actually now. I'm thinking maybe this one beats it because we have more currency pairs lining up with this setup than the other. Yeah, if that makes sense. So I'll be honest, I actually think I like this one better. Yeah. And also, did I do a liquidity analysis on this one? On the 15-minute, you don't really have anything. Let's try a 5. See if you can find it. Yeah, there it is. So that's what I was talking about. Well, there's a little something right in there. Okay, let's try an hourly again. Yeah, it's being sold off, that's for sure. Yeah, I think I would like to go with this one over the other one. And here's my reasoning. This one is um aligned with the other currency pairs that are lining up, but the franc yen negatively correlates this and it's not lining up the same way. So you're buying the franc on one and you're selling the franc on the other. Okay, and so I don't like that. And the other thing I don't like about this one we've already established is it came up to this liquidity zone very aggressively, and that has me a little bit suspicious. Okay, so I'm like, is that really going to work out? I mean, it still might, but I think, like I said, I think I'm more impressed with the Aussie franc. So anyway, I'm actually going to come back. That one's not triggering right now, and I'm not really interested in this one anymore. So just give me a second while I continue to analyze the rest of these. Some of them I just go through very quickly if I don't see what I want. If I don't see what I like, I just move very quickly. Let me get back down to the 15-minute though. There we go. Oh yeah, we talked about this one. We're canceling this one even. It's really good. I hate it when that happens. You find really good setups and you never hop in. That's the worst feeling. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a trend. That's what I'm looking for when I'm scanning quickly. So I'm looking for, I got to like, for example, I have a trend here, but I can already tell even as I was looking at it that it hasn't broken yet. So I'm looking for a break in a trend as I'm scanning, or a very robust break in resistance or support structure. That would do as well. Like this one appears to be like the pound yen appears to be breaking upside to the upside, which is good because we have COT interest on this. The other thing that you can see here is this low right here is higher. I know this may not seem like a big deal, but it actually is. You know how this low right here is higher than this previous low? That's very subtle, but it actually is a massive deal. That triggers it. It gives the market information, intel that it otherwise wouldn't have had, which is one of the reasons why you're seeing such a robust move to the upside on the pound yen, which is good. I'm not looking to get into the pound yen again. I mean, there's opportunities to do so. For example, if it pulled into here, that's probably a good buy opportunity. But and then the higher highs, exactly, Brooks. Yep, exactly. So that goes along with the higher lows, higher high analysis. But I already have this trade long, and you guys should too through the COT report. So I'm not going to try to double dip it. Yeah. But Darwin, to answer your question, that's what I'm looking for. Very clear breaks in structure, breaks in a trend line, because those are things I can work with, right? Here's this pound dollar from the other day. Right now, are we forming a new trend? Yeah, I think you could say so, but have we broken it? No. So you're just trading the trend until it breaks. But the thing is, I don't like to trade, to be honest. I don't trade the trend in the sense that I don't look for the market to dip back into here and then buy. I like to trade the brand new trend. I like to be the very first person to the new trend. Okay, does that make sense? So a lot of people like to call that a reversal. I don't really think it's a reversal. I just think you're being the first person. You're the smartest person to the party. You're just trying to get there as it's breaking, and you're catching the newest trend at its very initial stage. And those appear, in my opinion, seem to be the best trade setups. So yeah, it's depending on how you view it. I consider myself a trend trader, but I don't trade any old trend. I have to trade the newest trend that's forming. Yep, first person to the party. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Here's this NZD yen. This is looking good for this week. Let's talk about some reasons why this is looking good. So you do have a little bit of a trend here. It does appear, notice how it's simmering right here. We've got a market that's really simmering, like it's boiling to a top. You see that? It comes up, it taps, and it keeps revisiting this. What's one of the signs of a trend that's about to break? If the market keeps traveling along the trend line. The longer it spends along the trend line, the sooner it's going to break through that trend line. So I think it's inevitable at this point that the NZD yen is going to do that. It's almost set in stone that it's going to do that. It would be very, let's put it this way, it'd be very surprising if the NZD yen were to just pull back like that. It would be extremely surprising because the price action does not match that. Okay, the price action is saying, hey, we've got a market that formed a trend, a little downtrend here with a slight, it's kind of curved. It's not a steep trend, which is nice. And at that, back here, it pulled back quickly. Over here, it pulled back quickly, but that's not happening now. Yes, it pulled back quickly here, but it immediately came right back up. Pulled back here, came right back up. It didn't take very much time to revisit this trend line. So the more often the market's revisiting a trend line, the more likely that trend is going to break. And so that's why I'm saying the NZD yen is going to break up. And not only that, we COT reports indicating the same thing. Like banks are buying this pair right now on top of the very fact that the price action is indicating to. So it's a very bullish signal. Could you get into this one? Yeah, basically any dip would probably be pretty good. The setup I like though is when it breaks this and now you're the first person to the new trend, right? So the new trend would be, okay, it dips back into here, that's your buy, and then you're off to the races. That's the setup I like right there. All right, guys. So I'm almost through, and I think I already know what I want to trade today. I think you guys know too, but I just want to give the market a full chance here. Here's the USD franc. This one's suffering just a little bit. Got a little bit of a trend here. And so far this one is just continuing this trend. It's not really making huge strides to the upside at the moment. So we'll see how this USD franc plays out. You could argue that this is a reverse head and shoulders pattern, but again, I don't trade these. I just like to notice them. And if that plays out, you could see this wind up to the upside, but I'm not going to touch it. We already have an interest on it. Okay, this looks better. Here's the USD yen. So kind of your analysis on this is, okay, do we have a trend here? Yeah, a little bit, or pretty close to a trend lining up. And then you've got an apex low here. This is clearly a higher low. And you know this because this move was very robust to the upside. That is definitely an established low. And it basically just came down into this liquidity and just bounced right off of it. So what's the chances of the USD yen breaking this trend line right here? I'd say very high. So for me, I would say if this thing got up to here and bounced and pulled back, the pullback wouldn't go very far and then you'd break up. Or you could wait for it to pull back after it breaks the trend line and then you ride it even higher, something like that. But that's what it's appearing to be on the USD yen as well. And again, we already have an interest on this, so I'm not going to double dip it. But it's just happy and good to know that, hey, things are lining up for this week as far as the COT goes. Okay, so what else do we have, guys? So let's go back and look at the trades we have here. So this is Brooks Aussie CAD trade. It's really good. Again, I think the best entry would have been right here about an hour ago, but it is a setup. And if you want to go with this one, you can. The one I want to go with, I believe, is this one right here. Yeah, I'm going to go with this one. Um, um, and well, let's just take a look at some of these other I wrote down real quick. So then you have the Aussie dollar, but it looks like this one already set up too. So I'm a little late to that one. And then you've got the franc yen, which is right here, but I don't like this one because of how robust this move is back to the liquidity. So you might say I'm really my scrutiny is a little high, yes, but I do want to make sure we take really good trades. So could you take this one? Yeah, but the way I'm viewing this one, I don't know if you're going to get your move to the downside until it comes up to some of these higher levels. So you might be looking at something like this. I think maybe the trade would be better off like this instead. And I might take this one. Who knows? I might post this one, but just the way I'm viewing it, it does seem like the market wants to come to a little bit of a higher zone first, and then you'll get your, maybe it comes to here, and then you'll get your nice pullback. Maybe something more like along that line, something along here. And it does appear that there's more supply up there too. Yeah, it's Sonar Labs saying there's some supply there. Smart Money has something there. Yeah, they all have something right up in, it's basically this right here. So I might even post that one, to be honest. And your risk to reward on that would be pretty dang good. Like just that 7-1. I mean, 5-1 is right, or 1-5 is right there. And I think that's going to be pretty easy to get. 1-3 is a no-brainer. So I might post that one too. But again, I think the one I'm definitely going to post for now, for sure, is this one. So let's head over to it. Or not this one. It's the Aussie Franc. I really do like that one the most. I think we're early to the setup. No, we're not early. We're on time. We're on time to this setup. You've got, let's mark it all up and we'll post it. So you've got, this is all one point of engagement. You've got a second point of engagement. You have a third point of engagement right there. And then a real struggle, which is very apparent right through here, a real struggle. And then you've got your break in structure, which just barely happened, right? Break in structure. Let's go ahead and highlight that and mark it up. So that's a BOS. Okay. What else do we have, guys? So we have, these are lower highs, right? So let's highlight, let's do this. This is a lower high. Right. Yeah, that's pretty dang good. Yeah, so something like this looks fine. So we'll just wait for that to come tap up into there. And then, yeah, I think a 1-5 is great on that one. Yeah, I took a trade just like this last week on the Cat Frank. It was almost identical. And again, why are we picking this area? So why are we picking this area to be the so good? It's because whatever took place in there broke the structure. So whatever order they did, whatever they did right there broke it. The other option is you could try to sell right up in here. So this area wouldn't be bad. So we could look at and if we lose this trade, we could try to re-enter right here. And that could be a pretty solid opportunity. But I'm gonna try to go with this first one right here. See if we can get that to be a winner. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do this. All right, this is the Aussie Frank short. Okay, we're gonna sell, not now, but for those that are new, this is a limit order. So that means you need to place this trade in your account, but you need to place it with the idea that it will trigger later. So it hasn't actually set up yet. I mean, you can sell now, but we're trying to get an even more ideal entry on this. We're trying to be sniper-like, right? The more you can tighten your entry and get that risk tighter, the more lucrative the trade will actually be. Because what will happen is your lot size will be a lot bigger on these types of trade setups. And if you win on them, it just covers all sorts of, like if you like this trade, if it wins, you can afford 5 consecutive losses before you're breaking even again, which is not likely to happen, which is awesome. So if you can kind of maintain that level of proficiency, then it just, you're, I mean, yeah, you can basically, you can turn your day around, you can turn your week around with just one of these trades. You can turn your month around with just one of these trades, right? And I just try to hit 1 or 2 of these a week. You know, if I can hit 1 or 2, even, yeah, just even 1 a week is huge, right? But that's why I have to post 1 a day or 2 a day to try to find that. Okay, so 0.57433 is our entry. We're going to take profit at 0.57170, and we'll stop out at 0.571. Actually, excuse me, we're going to stop out at 0.57486. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, David, that it is counter to the NZD Frank Long. This one does appear to be better than that, or the or you're talking about the COT report trades. Yeah, it could definitely be, we can definitely be in contrary to that. It's also in contrary to the Frank Yen, which we talked about. However, this one just appears to be a little bit, I just like this setup a little bit more. It just seems a little bit more obvious to me, and I like it. We will be taking more setups. So the let me go over to, for example, this Frank Yen. I do like this one, but I think I'm going to wait for it to come up into these areas before I sell. Yeah, so I might even post this one right after the webinar. I just need to really dive into it. 5 pips is tight. Yeah, that one is really tight. Yeah, that Aussie Frank, is that all it is? It's a really tight entry. Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 pips. Yeah, it's very tight. And if that's too tight, you guys can adjust this all you want. You can change your stop. Like if you want to add a pip of risk, add a couple of pips of risk, you can certainly do that. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, we're gonna take a lot more of these trades this week. I'm hoping to get several setups. And I'm hoping to have some really good trades this week with the price action trades. Well, and COT report, but love to get some really good solid price action trades. So this is the other one I'm contemplating right here. I've mentioned this. And I do think I still will take this trade, but I'm going to really scrutinize this one. Like I said, I think there's a solid liquidity zone right up in there, like you can see. Maybe even, yeah, right there. Smart money, yep, has it right here. So I definitely think there's going to be a pullback in store somewhere around there. And that's where I want to sell. So basically whatever happened in here or whatever happened in there caused this market to break down each time. So I think there's a lot of hidden liquidity just stashed in there that we can use. Let's see. Sean says, would the 11 a.m. call be a better place to ask how you arrive at the net long and short from the COT report? I asked because I was trying to tally your position from the leverage fund column, wasn't matching yours. I'm sure I'm missing something though. Yeah, no, we can definitely. In fact, I'll just spend a minute or two on that and we can wrap up. Unless if you guys have other questions, put those in now because we're going to wrap up here pretty soon. But let's go take a look at the report here. So these are, I actually updated this. Somebody emailed me, Dean emailed me yesterday saying that my pound long was a little bit off. Fortunately, it didn't affect the signal. But everything else is accurate. I've double checked at this point. So basically, when I put in the information from the COT report, I have these two columns I put in, and I put in these two columns right here. It's important to know that these two columns are what really matter. So E and F are where I figure out what trades we're taking for the week because I'm trying to go off of the current holdings. So if you double click into here, I think it lets you, even though you can't edit, it lets you see the formulas. So notice how when I figure this out, it's the total long positions divided by the sum of all positions multiplied by 100. That's how we're able to get a percentage of, we're able to get this. Yeah, it's exactly, that's what I was saying. Yeah, it's a percentage of, unless I missed something. So it's the total number of positions divided by the sum of all positions multiplied by 100 is how we're able to get this represented as a percentage for current holdings, right? So if you look at the Kiwi this week, there's you might notice there's not a huge sum of positions, like only 22,000 contracts versus like the Euros 122,000 contracts. But the thing is, we're not trying to go off of the sum. We're trying to go off of relative to how many positions outstanding. Is that a big deal or not, as far as a percentage goes? So you take the total long positions divided by the sum of all positions multiplied by 100, and that's how you're able to get that number consistently throughout all 8 major currencies. Let's see. I mean, from the source report, how did you get the totals in column C and D? Oh, that's just from the leverage funds. So you go to the CFTC COT report right here. You go to the cftc.gov, you go to commitment of traders, then you come down and click on the financial long format. And then I'm going to each currency. So you can see Canadian dollar. I want to get leveraged funds, the long side and the short side of leveraged funds. Yes, exactly. Some of these contracts are 100,000, others are less or more. Yeah, most of these are done in, you'll see it noticed right here, like the Canadian dollars in 100,000. Yeah. It looks like with the Swiss franc, they're doing it in contracts of 125. So yeah, Yeah, that's, yeah. And what we've done is we've just gone by the sum of contracts. That's all we've done. Might be worth looking into changing that in the future, but we've just gone off of the sum of contracts. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with that. Hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your day. I'll be looking for more trades this afternoon. I might be posting more, so keep an eye out for that. Like I said, we're going to take a lot of price action trades this week. And again, if you have losers, you're going to have losers this week, but we're also going to have winners. So just, be ready to roll with the punches of that. So, all right, guys, have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next webinar. Thanks for coming.